I locked myself in the house. People was calling me crazy. Have a sense of urgency of not staying in your depression. Get up and do it now. Don't stay there. So just really pushing them from where they are to where God really purposes.
It's a journey worth traveling, your space for raw conversations and soulful insights around life's journey. Let's explore. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Catherine. Storytelling and being able to take you all on these trips, it is truly a joy of mine. Thank you for coming back and rocking with me for another episode. Now, before we kick this trip off, I got a quick question to ask the crew. I want to know, what is your relationship with discipline look like? For me, I have a real interesting relationship with discipline. Discipline, honestly, is not my first language. I have to be very intentional when it comes to this thing called discipline. So I'm always interested in learning how other people love on discipline and how they have been able to be successful in that area. And that is why I said, you know what? We got to take the crew to the dojo of discipline. And I want to take you to the dojo because it's in the dojo where you can really learn how to wax on and wax off and sharpen that skill set of discipline. And tour guiding this episode, we have Raphael Williams Jr., who is a trainer in both the nutritional and the fitness space. He's also an entrepreneur and he's a pastor. I know he does a lot, but let me just say that he is able to win in each one of these areas because of his love and his relationship with discipline. And he also has a heart that is continuously postured to just want to see people win. He always wants to see people be at their best. So I'm really looking forward to him taking you through this episode because let me just say, crew, along the way, he drops so many souvenirs in both the fitness and the spiritual space. So I am not going to delay this trip much longer. Let's head over to the dojo of discipline.
I'm very excited about this trip today.
I am very excited about this trip today as well. So here is what you need to know about our tour guide as we head to the dojo of discipline. Ralph, I have known him for several years. I started off as his client in the food space where I was getting meals from him. And then I went to be his client in the fitness space. And from there, he has become a friend. And here's what you need to know about him as a friend. He is kind, ambitious, generous, authentic, empowering. And oftentimes, especially when I'm working out and I want to give up, he's like, "Nah, sis, you got more in the tank." And so I am really looking forward to him bringing that empowering nature, that genuine spirit, that authenticity to this trip.
Oh man, she's making me feel real good today.
Thank you. And I feel like we always have good, deep, enriching conversations.
It's trtrue. It's true.
I went to go get some meals from you the other day and I was outside talking to you for 30 minutes. And I was like, you got a podcast in a couple of days with this man.
Facts.
Wrap it up.
We had to wrap it up because we were sitting there all night. Absolutely.
So let's kick it off with, who is Raphael Williams Jr.?
I'm just a man of integrity, someone who wants to really stand on character and build, from the front to the back, and just be an example of the things that I've really been through, of real life experiences, and not trying to be something that I'm not trying to give a facade story, but just giving the truth.
I love that.
I mean, the real truth of who I am,
yeah,
and where I came from and the things that I had to go through to become who I am, and it get dark sometimes, but you got to go through the darkness to get to the light.
No, absolutely.
So that's just about who I am.
So starting off with who you are, you also are a person who lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, it's crazy to me still to this day.
That's crazy.
It's really crazy to me.
That's a whole person.
Yeah, it's a whole person. But, it was the process that I fell in love with and not just the destination. I think sometimes we want to get to the destination, and we have to understand what the process really takes to get to wherever we want to go in any genre of our lives or anything we want to be.
So walk me through what that transformation journey looked like.
So it started with the first 3 weeks of just changing my habits.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I locked myself in the house.
Okay.
People was calling me crazy.
Okay.
You know, everybody that know me, they know Ralph gonna get a haircut, you know,
So you
every
went 3
week.
weeks without no haircut?
Every week. You know, mid-manner day on Wednesday, he gonna get a line up because, you know, he trying to keep it crispy. However, I had to say pause. You know, I'm trying to get somewhere and I can't be around no influences. My sister had her birthday, and I didn't even make it to her birthday party. And that's not like me.
Really?
Like, I'm just like, I just can't be around no cake. Because here's the thing, I have a weight problem, right? I can't wait to eat. You know what I'm talking about? So I had to really just say, no, I can't go around parties. I can't be around no drinks. I can't be around people because I just love food and I'm trying to get somewhere. And sometimes you have to just take a stand for who you are and what you want to get to. And 3 weeks, I stayed in the house. I go work out. I go in the backyard, grill my food. I was making food for myself. And I was just being as disciplined as I could because I was told in books and empirical knowledge of learning on my own.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was just trying to do something that was different. And I said, no, I don't want this life no more. I want a change. And sometimes to get a change, you have to go through the process of change. And we want to be changed, but we don't want to go through the process to change. And we have to go through it to get to it. Right. So we have goals, but to get to the goal we must go through that change. So I stayed in the house for 3 weeks. I would go work out.
That's crazy. Okay, so I wanna unpack that. But first, let me ask you, what was the thing that inspired you, that activated you to even want to start this transformation journey?
I was fat, you know, and people was telling me I look good. You know what I'm talking about? And I just
so you didn't like being lied to? Is that what
I had
you're saying?
the personality of just, you know, that man, you know, but however, I was having a daughter who was coming in the world.
Okay.
And I wanted to be an example. Like, no, I don't want her seeing me like this. I want to be able to be, you know, in shape. I want to play with her. I want to be, you know, there for her. I want to be able to run with her. I want to be able to do the things that she would want. And I don't want to be unhealthy.
So that was your why.
That was my why. My daughter was the beginning of my why.
Okay.
Yeah, she was that. And so I was just like, you know, because I never thought that I would have a child. So when I'm like, oh, life just got serious. You know what I mean? Like, wow, I got to get myself together.
Yeah.
Let's become responsible. You know what
I'm going to lock myself in the house for 3 weeks.
3 weeks, no haircut. I had an afro. They was calling me crazy and people was talking about me. But, you know, I heard it from afar because I really didn't care because I was carrying on me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to care on you and not think about what people will say.
I think a lot of times, like, that's real. And I also think that's something really to hold on to, because you did something very extreme to show yourself like, no, like, I'm really ready for this change.
Yeah.
Like I'm about this.
Absolutely.
And I think you need to be able to have that kind of mind hack to let your body know, to let your mind know, like, no, I'm really serious about this.
Facts.
So I need you to get behind me.
Facts. And the thing is, you really have to talk to yourself. You know, your mind will tell you what you can't do, but you have to control your mind. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. The mind is say, I can't do this. I'm able to do this. But, you know, the word says, you know, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So you have to think that you can and think that you are able to do what you think you aren't able to do. And so me locking myself, I'm always out, you know.
Yeah.
I'm always on the go. I'm always trying to see what's good, what's happening, what's next. You know what I'm saying? I love having a good time. And just like I said, I have a weight problem. I love to eat. Where there's food, there's me.
J. Crew, if you are enjoying this trip and you have not already, I would love for you to like and subscribe so that you never miss a trip and we can continue to grow our community. Now, back to this trip. So what did this 3 weeks look like for you? Like what goals did you obtain after the 3 weeks?
I attained a lifestyle change, because in 3 weeks I saw my body. I took pictures every week, right? But the third week of the pictures that I took, it was just like, I'm hooked. I seen the real transformation of myself in 3 weeks of just a little bit of change, just like, wow. So I'm like, you know what? Can't nobody tell me nothing. I'm hooked on it. And then not only that, my taste buds changed. You know what I mean? Because pizza was my favorite, and it's the worst thing you can put in your body.
When you were on this 3-week transformation, was it eating and was it working out, or were you just more focused on your eating habits?
I'm going to say it's simultaneously, because I was always working out for years. I was working out for years hard, and I was eating whatever I wanted to. So I was simultaneously still working out, but I was really focused on changing my eating now.
Okay.
Because I wanted to change my body for real. Because after like 4 or 5 years of just working out and eating whatever, I mean, I'm still getting KFC, bucket of 20,
right,
smashing, you know what I mean? I was getting strong and building a lot of strength, but it wasn't, how I wanted to look.
Yeah.
I was just big and strong.
And to your point, I mean, it's about you assessing, like you said, I have an eating problem.
Yeah.
Right. And so in having that, in recognizing like this is the problem that I have, in order to be able to optimize this health and this wellness journey, like these are the things that I really got to hone into and focus in on.
Facts.
The fitness thing, I'm sure it sounds like was a little bit easier for you to kind of get into, where
Facts.
the food was more of the issue.
It was more the issue because growing up, as everybody know, my father was a bishop. We was in church all the time. And the mothers was always bringing him pies, and they was making food. And, I'm the first family. So after service, he done preached to the people. He done told them what God said, and do this, do that. And this is how you live. And when we go to the office, we got a whole spread, a whole smorgasbord of food, right? And so food was just like something, part of that in the church world. So, and we would always eat real good, at least that's what we thought, we was eating good, because, it was just provided for us all the time. But when I look at it, food is the number one killer in the world. Sugar hits the brain 32 times, the nervous system. Cocaine only hit it 2 times. You hear me? So I'm just saying, like, food is like the biggest killer, and we don't even know it. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like we eat when we want it, but we eating so many empty calories, and we killing ourselves. We stopping our life. We stopping our performance. We stopping our thinking. We stopping the focus of who we really are.
I love the fact that you said you had to do this extreme sequestering of self because you knew yourself. You knew how much you love food. So when it came to you being disciplined, was that something that came easy for you?
It did not come easy for me. That's why I had to constrain myself in the house, because I wanted it more than I wanted the food. I wanted my trainer, the guy that was training me, he showed me him being on a bodybuilding stage one time. And I'm like, wow. I seen his body. I seen how he was, the abs, the chest, the legs. And I was just like, wow, I want to get that, and, the look was just impressive to me. So impressive to, like, he like, well, you ain't gonna be able to do this, do that, do that. And I'm just like, I don't care. Okay, I could try. But I had to come out from it. Yeah. Word says separate yourself and come out from among them. So you have to come and separate yourself from certain things that's in your life to get to certain goals that you really want to get to.
I'm really glad that you talked about the fact that for you, it didn't come easy. So in preparation for this trip, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was letting them know we're about to go to the Dojo of Discipline. And they were saying their thought on discipline was either you have it or you don't. And they were trying to tell me, like, Kat, you're a disciplined person. Like, you just have it. And it's like, no, I don't. Like, it is a constant tending to process. It is not easy. It is something that I really had to learn. And for me, it's it's an everyday tending to process. It's an everyday struggle.
It's a constant battle.
Yes,
it's still a battle. It's a battle for me too. Because when you start letting up, more come in. And the sugar is good. And the sugar is addictive.
Right.
Sugar is so addictive. So it's a constant battle and it's a constant fight that you have to fight through your mind. You know what I mean? So no one that says that they're just disciplined is just disciplined. It's a habit that is built inside of you.
So what does discipline mean to you?
Discipline means to me is, it's delayed gratification, right?
I could track there.
It's stopping some good things at the moment to get some greater things later. That's what discipline is. And it's really retracting from the things that you want right now, because we live in a microwave society.
Yeah.
Where we want to put things on 60 seconds and it's done. But it's not done thoroughly.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure.
And so we just discipline it's still gonna get you to where you want to be, but it just takes time. And you have to bring yourself backwards to get forward.
Yeah. After the 3 weeks, now you back out in the world. So what did the protocols look like thereafter to be able to ensure that you were staying disciplined, that you were staying the course?
There was a power that came over me because of how I looked from the 3 weeks that I was disciplined. 21 days is a habit. And if you do something for 21 days, you become a habit. Your taste buds change. So now I'm looking at people like, man, for real? And the things that they're doing is just like, I have changed my view. I've changed my emotions. I've changed who I am in just 21 days. And the things that I loved, I don't like no more. I don't even want to have nothing to do with it no more.
And I think that's like, that's money right there. Just being able to see within 3 weeks, the power that you possess, the power that you have inside of yourself when you are disciplined, when you are willing to lock in, to go to those extremes, to be like, no, like I really, 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 really want this. And then you carry that with you.
Thanks.
You carry that with you. So what were you having to say to yourself as you went out into the world and now you're having to like battle all this external?
I was just like, what it was me seeing people that was falling of undisciplinary acts on their life and just indulging into right now. And I can see it, I can feel it, and I can see the power that I have now to just be like, no, I'm good. And then those people is looking at them, it was just like, I don't want to be like that. Like, it was just like a turn off for real.
So,
but I was always cool, not just like being bougie or nothing about it, but
So like, what did your days look like? What did your protocols look like?
Just very calculated. I'm making sure I'm taking care of tasks. I'm very goal orientated. Things are being very productive for me because I got the energy, I got the performance, I got the focus.
Did you calorie count, or was it just like more intuitive eating?
So that was one of the things about me. I never calorie count.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like when I get older, I'm not going to be doing this. I just want to know what I can eat and when I can't eat.
Yep.
And so even with my meal prep company, I never really calorie counted. Those that wanted to and needed calories to be counted for them, I would do that for them. But it was just really like, let's just eat what we need. And I was showing people how to eat to live and not just live to eat and to be satisfied, right? You need to be satisfied, not to be full. When you eat and you satisfied, that's enough. I'm good. I come back for later. Come back for more. I'm not counting calories. My body is telling me I'm satisfied. I don't want to be full where I'm sleepy. I'm slow. I'm feeling unwanted. I'm feeling terrible. I don't want that feeling. I just want to feel like, okay, I got enough.
I'm satiated. I'm good.
That part.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I can perform and I come back later.
Yeah. So now you see what your body is capable of doing. Is that ultimately what inspires you to get into, like, become a personal trainer?
I didn't plan on becoming a personal trainer. I didn't plan on becoming even a meal prep specialist. I was just really trying to focus on myself to take care of my own family. I didn't know that this was the process that God would have for me. And sometimes we go through things and things are bigger than us.
Yeah.
So
That part.
a gentleman, he was a 450-pound guy who had 9 tumors in his stomach. And the doctor told him he had tumors sitting on it. You could see him sitting on his stomach. But he could not get the surgery to take the tumors out until he lost 50 pounds. He had to lose 50 pounds. So he called me. He asked me, he was doing taxes for my brothers and my family, and he just seen what I had done. And to myself, he said, well, you think you can do that for me? And I was just like, I could try. Because it was just trial and error. You know, I was just going through learning. And I was just like, let's try. But it was very expensive because of the food that I was getting him. He was paying me like $450 a week because he needed like 7 to 8 meals a day. And I got him together, man. I was shocked myself. You know, I was just really shocking myself, man.
Yeah,
just trying.
Yeah.
He lost the 50 pounds. He got the surgery. And then his wife started making the pancakes and I never saw him again.
Not the pancakes, though.
You know how love go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She put it on him.
No, yeah.
He's still married right now.
She must have some good pancakes.
She got some good pancakes.
And so then it was just
off to the races.
Yeah, off to the races from
Off to the races from there. Like, man, let me start a business. Lord, give me the name. Lord, just, you know, so I came up with Rocket Fuel Nutrition, as you see. Rocket Fuel Nutrition.
And can I just take a moment and say, because I think in the intro, obviously I said that's how we first met, was me becoming a client of you on the food side.
Thanks.
And really, like, the food is healthy and it's delicious. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I really mean that. I don't cook in Michigan no more. Like, when I come here, I'm like, Ralph, I'm here for the week.
Thanks.
I need some meals. And you have something that is very powerful. That is great.
Thank you.
I appreciate you getting me together.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely appreciate you getting me together. You started the company, Rocket Fuel Nutrition.
Correct.
Did you have this entrepreneurial spirit always, or?
Well, my father was an entrepreneur. He walked by faith and not by sight. I didn't know. I was working a job. I was a team leader for a plant. I hated it. And I knew this wasn't for me. You know, I didn't know that I would be doing food at all. That's, man, you know, but when your steps are ordered by God and you walking in your steps, he'll change what you're doing and he'll give you what he has for you in your purpose. Because I did not think that I would be doing this at all.
Yeah.
Because I was never really no cook but I'm a grill master. You know, I love to grill. I'm a smoker. I smoke our food with cherry wood and fire so that we don't use salt, and it just gives it a taste.
Okay, that's what
that's
it is.
Incredible.
It's the cherry wood.
It's the cherry wood.
It's the cherry wood.
Here it is, because you know there are
Okay.
trees, and
because it does. It has a very distinguished taste to it.
Yes,
for sure.
Facts.
But it's a good distinguished taste.
Yes.
And that's a great thing that's a great thing to be able to have, like, where your food don't taste like nobody else's. Because it doesn't. And so now I know it's the cherry wood.
It's the cherry wood. And so the thing about smoking and cooking food with cherry wood and fire, the fire cleanses the atmosphere that it's being prepared in. And I don't know if everybody know George Foreman. He would have a grill, but the grill brings out all of the preservatives and everything that's bad for the food, and it just drops down, right? And it gives it a flavor, and it keeps it really moist and juice, so that you're not missing anything, and it's just like melts in your mouth. And so the Lord just really kind of gave me that, you know. So, and I just been going with it.
So something was downloaded into your spirit, and it's this new entrepreneurial endeavor. Like, what does the discipline look like there?
So hard, because the first year I couldn't really get too many customers because the food that we were getting was like grass-fed, halal, higher end foods don't have the preservatives in it. And so I couldn't get the people that I was trying to help because they couldn't afford the food, right?
Okay.
And it was just like I only had 2 clients for a whole year, and I'm having faith, and I'm telling them it's gonna work, and people looking at me crazy, like, you ain't making no money though, but you're doing this. And, you know, I stuck with it, and, you know, and it just led up, and God started bringing me the right clients and the right clientele and the people, and they started understanding it, and it just started blowing up from there.
what is the discipline? Like, what does it look like for you though in that new season?
Being true to who I am and what I'm doing is really hard because you're being pulled from all different kind of angles to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
And it couldn't be just about the money. It has to be about the outcome because money come and money go.
In that moment, it's really having like this disciplined mindset.
Facts. Because I had to be disciplined to get my body together. So, and I didn't really want to, but I wanted to go. And I was going through, you know, all type of, where I wanted to just eat, you know, bad food.
In those moments, like, how do you stay disciplined? Like, when all you can think about is eating bad food?
I try to read my word, pray, or just turn it off, try to make another conversation, because those thoughts, those feelings, they always going to come.
Yeah.
And they want to come to deter you from your goal. And they're going to come, you know, well, they partying, they doing this, you can be there, you can be doing this, you can be. And so you have to have self-preservation for yourself and know who you are. And you have to stay focused, but you have to stay encouraged.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When your clients come to you and they're just starting this health and wellness and fitness journey, like, what are the things that you're saying to them?
The first thing I'm going to say to them is stick with me, because I'm going to set you free. I'm going to set that free.
Okay.
I'm going to set you free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no fat formed against you will prosper. You know what I mean? If you listen to me, we're going to get it together, you know, because it's a road. It's a journey. You know, it's going into the dojo, right?
Yeah.
Of disciplining yourself and stopping all the distractions that you don't even know that's distracting you.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, like, when it comes to, like, that's one of the keys when it comes to discipline, is really being able to understand what is going to distract you and to move those, distractions. Because when it comes to discipline, it can be such a chore.
Facts.
And so it's like, how can I make this easier on and for myself?
No facts. Because when you're trying to discipline yourself, you don't understand what discipline really means. And sometimes the closest people to you can be trying to pull you from discipline. Mm-hmm. And they don't even understand that part either, you know, and they'll take it personal when it's not personal. And it's just a road you're trying to go through.
Right. It's not even intentional a lot of the times from them.
It's not.
You know, it's just they don't
don't understand.
And so you really have to have that. You have to be locked in, and you have to have that personal wisdom
and fortitude.
Yes.
For who you are and where you're trying to go to.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes so much of a discipline and a focus to get there. You know, it's like going to a trip, you know, you're driving. You have to be focused on the road.
That's
and
true.
You have to go through where, before we had GPS, we had maps. So we had to be more focused on the maps and making sure that we don't miss the exit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we are, anytime, you know, we all miss exits on the phone call.
I think we were having this conversation, weren't we? I think at one point, about like missing the exit or whatever. Yeah.
And you'll miss the exit because you'll get distracted.
Yeah.
And now you gotta.
It's not even intentional.
It's not even intentional.
It's not even intentional.
And now you gotta get off the exit, come all the way back around to go back to you're losing time, and it's just like, we have to stay focused.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And we can't stay focused on people that's in front of us, because just because they're in front of us don't mean they're ahead of us. Right?
Break that down.
You know what I mean? I mean, because you got people that's talking good, that's talking big, and they may have done more things than you. But if you know, I don't know if you ever been in the car driving and somebody's just skirting past you, and you just, you know, you driving slow, you driving, you know what I mean? And next thing you know, we at the same light, but you just scurried past me, and I'm cruising, and you all mad looking at me like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Yeah. But at the end of the day, we at the same. I done caught up with you at the same stop. Like,
so it sounds like you need to have patience.
Patience is the virtue, right? You know, the turtle wins the race. It's the marathon,
right?
You know, and a lot of people are in rocking chairs. You know, they move in a lot of places, but they're not going nowhere. You know what I mean? Rocking chair going back and forth, but it's really not going nowhere. Right?
Yeah, that's a fact. I have a couple questions.
I have a couple answers.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. I got a couple questions from the J Crew. The J Crew is our community.
Okay, great.
So here's what they want to know. How do you fall in love with working out? And let's preface this real quick. For you, it took you a minute to fall in love with working out, right? Like it wasn't you, that wasn't your bag.
No, it was not my bag at all. Falling in love with the process, you have to continue with it to fall in love with it, to see the results of it. And when you see the results of it, it becomes addictive. Mm-hmm. And you become in love with it because you know what it can do for you.
Yeah.
And that's in anything.
That's in anything.
Yeah, so,
no, for sure.
J. Crew, I hope that was a great answer for you because I fell in love with working out on legs. Legs may be my best workout, and I used to really, really, really hate it. So lunges is like my number one.
Yeah, you do. Like he will make you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so when we're training,
yes,
there's this long pathway, and he's like lunge down it and
there and back. There it is. That's right.
What?
Yeah.
How many times? Until I say stop. Or,
let's get it.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Because that's the foundation. When you build a house, you have to have the foundation sure. Mm-hmm. Right? So when the wind comes and the tornadoes come, the foundation keeps it strong.
Yeah.
So your legs and your body is the foundation, and it's building your whole body.
Listen, you ain't gonna have to convince the ladies to work out on the legs. The legs is like, that's our favorite.
Yeah, they
day.
love it. Yeah,
we love the legs. Yeah, we love the legs for
absolutely.
Sure. One of the other questions is, so if you go on a trip and you're on this trip and you get derailed, how do you get back to the discipline, to the working out?
So you have to have fun because, ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. However, during the fun, wherever I go, if I'm going to any place, I'm trying to find the coldest gym and the nicest gym because I want to go in there because that's a part of my life. It's a lifestyle.
So you got to work out when you're traveling. That's what you're saying?
I'm always working out when I travel.
Okay.
Because it's a part of life.
Yeah.
If I have to use the bathroom, I have to work out.
Yeah.
And I want to find the best gym because it gives me a different inspiration. Mm-hmm. I see people here. I see all different kinds of, ethnic groups here, and this gym is nice, and I'm about to just go ham in here. I'm about to let them know where I'm from, and it's just something that gives me pleasure. So, and before all of the excursions, let me get up, and it don't matter how much I drink, how much I have a good time. I got to get it in for me first.
I generally too work out when I travel, but I also wonder, like, for those who may not have necessarily made it into ingrained it into their lifestyle just yet. Like sometimes you have to just go to one extreme to be able to appreciate something else, right?
Absolutely.
Like we're able to appreciate night because we know what day looks like.
Facts.
And so when you're on these different trips, or even if you just get off course, it's like, okay, have your fun.
Yeah, have your fun.
Have your fun, indulge. But no, when I come back home,
I got to get back in the saddle.
I'm getting back into it.
I'm back in my regiment. I was
thinking about for this person who asked the question, you about to go on this trip for however long. When you come back, already have your classes scheduled.
Facts.
Already have your athletic wear out on the bed, ready. So you're giving yourself that grace. So you can go, you can have fun, you can experience, the eating and the drinking and just, turning up. And then well, when I come back, I'm locked in.
And here's the thing. It's just always about balance. It's just, I got to have balance in my life, even on vacation.
Yeah.
And even wherever I go, it's just a part of, I'm trying to administrate balance in my life, and it comes in time. And so the first thing you can't be is so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you be too hard on yourself, then you never get back to that part of the balance. You just keep going and doing this, doing that, and say, I always get back to it, and then you never get back to it. Yeah. So you have to have grace for who you are and,
and where you at.
Yeah. And so, because some places you may not find a good gym, and you may not be able to be good with just doing calisthenics and just things on your own. So have fun, for that time, you're only going to be here for so long. And when you get back, just jump back in the saddle. I made a post saying discipline is love.
Okay, so let's explore there real quick, because I think oftentimes when it comes to discipline, it's all about it's rules.
Thanks.
And I think that's the biggest drawback. So for me, being a person who as a creative and also as a person who has authoritative issues, when I hear rules, I'm like, yeah, nah.
That ain't for me.
That ain't for me. So that's why it's always been a struggle for me to be disciplined.
Yeah.
Like it's always been something that I have to like be very intentional about. And there was this video that Will Smith did, and he was talking about how discipline is self-love.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like if we change our perspective on discipline and don't look at it as like a whole bunch of rules, but really look at it as love, as self-love, then it allows for us to tap in and be more consistent with it. It's
preserving us.
Discipline is us consistently making good decisions.
At the end of the day, it's the good decisions because, it's like, let me save this for tomorrow instead of spending it for today.
Yeah.
And we always going to have to work on it because the flesh is weak, but the spirit is always willing.
So when we say discipline is love, for you, what does that mean to you?
It means a better outcome. It means a better relationship with life and yourself. The word says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So love is to give. And so when you give love, in return, you get love. And people can see the love that you give. It's better to give than it is to receive, because if you're always giving, you always have, right? And if you always have the love for people to come and embrace.
Yeah.
And people all need love. We need love. And love is agape. It's always to be given. And it's not just a word to be said, but it's an example to be shown.
I love that. I love that.
So discipline is really love, So saying no to yourself for now to get a yes later.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, the delayed gratification.
Definitely.
The person who had mentioned that, at the end of the day, either you have it or you don't when it comes to discipline. I think when we look at our life, there's areas that we are disciplined in and there's areas that we're not disciplined in. And so it's like, if I can be disciplined in these other areas, then all I have to do is just apply it to these particular areas that are really going to serve me. Like oftentimes, like we can be disciplined for work. We can be disciplined in our marriage. But then maybe when it comes to eating right or when it comes to going after our purpose, we're not necessarily disciplined in.
Because of the cause and effect. You know what I mean? When you go into work, you're disciplined because the cause is I have to be here to put time in, because the effect is I'm going to get paid. Mm-hmm. So when you have a cause and effect, but you saying when you overindulging in your life of eating, you don't really see the effect later. Mm-hmm. You just know that it's a cause because I'm hungry. Mm-hmm. But you don't understand that later it's putting age and it's putting time on your body.
Yeah.
It's slowing you down. It's stopping your performance. It's a real hindrance that you don't see at this time, but you're not getting paid for it. Right? So, and it shouldn't be that, okay, I got to put this time in to get paid for this. This is your life. This is your temple. This is what God gave you. And we want to say, Lord, I thank you for waking me up every day, and I want to preserve what you gave me.
Yeah.
I want to preserve that.
I love that. Why do you think people struggle with discipline?
Because we're so used to having what we want, how we want it, when we want it. And sometimes people spoil us. We spoil ourselves, and we don't have discipline no more to just wait no more. And we don't have no virtue in us to be able to wait for later. And so now, because we don't practice waiting, we want to get in front of the line, right?
I think a lot of times we don't even realize, like, discipline requires sacrifice. And sometimes we're not willing to make the sacrifices. But in order to be disciplined, something in you has to die. Die. Whether it's the excuses, whether it's the laziness.
That's so powerful what you just said. Every time you go higher, there is something you have to leave with you, mm-hmm. right? Because say if you was getting up and this chair got up with you, that's too much of a weight.
Right.
The chair got to stay there.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm going to leave. And there's sometimes when you go into new heights, new levels, there's just some people you can't take with you.
You can't take with you.
You know, because it's just a weight. It's why we going here? Why we gotta do that? And it's just a weight. It's just time pause. It's just time stance. It's just, and you love them, but you have to love them from afar because you have to still get to your destiny and your purpose.
What's one of the biggest sacrifices that you've had to make in order to be able to maintain your disciplined lifestyle?
That's heavy. She coming with the heavy ones today. Ooh, wee.
Go ahead, talk to him.
Man,
to him. What is it like?
Some of the things that I really love to do and indulge myself in, you know, sometimes when you're going to the next level, you have to leave some things that you like to do alone.
For sure.
Some people that you really love, some people that you really, you know, but they're still in the puddle that you can't stay in no more.
Ooh,
right?
In the puddle.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's like
we trying to get out the puddle.
You know, I'm trying to get to the ocean, and you talking deep, but you swimming in shallow water.
Oh, okay.
And I'm having a good time here. It's a lovely place, but I've been here. Now I want to go to something else, and they don't want to go to nothing else. They just want to sit on the couch and smoke 20 blunts for the day, right? And mess your lungs up. I'm trying to clear them. I'm trying to go somewhere different and beyond here. Been there, done that. Let's go to something different.
So the biggest thing you have had to sacrifice, you would say, is the people in your life?
I'm gonna say people in my life is one of the biggest things, but another biggest thing is myself and comfortability. Being comfortable with the people.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that I have to sacrifice, because you get comfortable, you get in a good place, and you want to stay there.
Yeah.
You want to live there because, okay, I got here, this is great for me, and I'm good here now. But no, there's more.
There's a lot more.
And you can't stay here because right here, it's over. So I'm gonna just tell you, for instance, you know, I was somewhere and a guy came into the facility where I was, and he looked like he was still in 1994. Mm-hmm. He had a long t-shirt on all the way down to his calves with one of those long chains, and he was still living in that time. We in 2022, but he's still in 1994. And the times have changed. And so you have to change with the time still, because you can be so comfortable with that time that you will miss the time that you're supposed to go in.
So in order to be disciplined, or in order to do discipline well, you got to get uncomfortable?
It's a must. Because discipline is uncomfortability. Mm-hmm. It's getting out of your norm. It's being deviant. It's leaving.
Yeah.
You know, and you always got to get uncomfortable and shake things up.
Why do you think people are so unwilling to get uncomfortable?
Because they're comfortable and they're good right where they are. Mm-hmm. And they made where they wanted to be, but they don't know that God got better for them and more for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes somebody to pull them out and tell them and show them, this is where you can be.
I think a lot of times when it comes to just discipline, like we can look at it from the structural standpoint, the rules. But right now, what I'm having, the conversation I'm having to have with myself, you got to recognize that sometimes it's beyond discipline. Like sometimes it's really having a conversation with yourself and saying, like, are you not feeling are you not feeling worthy of this? You know, is that the reason why you're not disciplined in this area?
And that part can be a very detrimental part to you because of your worth and your self-worth, and the people around you don't see you worthy. And so that's why you have to get uncomfortable and get to a new people. Because
like if I can be disciplined, like again, going back to what I was saying earlier, if I could be disciplined in this area when it comes to my job, when it comes to like my marriage, but I'm not necessarily disciplined when it comes to purpose, like, you know, you can be disciplined. So why aren't you applying it over here?
Distractions. You're too distracted that you don't see.
I think it's distractions, but also sometimes we're willing to do it for other people, but we're not willing to do it for ourselves. And
that's
not doing it for ourselves,
you
have to ask yourself, so why am I not willing to do it for myself?
That's true, because we don't feel like we're worthy.
And those are the deeper conversations when we're seeing like, okay, I'm not I have the ability to be disciplined, but I'm not disciplined in these other areas.
Yeah.
That's when we have to have some real conversations with
Yeah.
ourselves and say,
And it
what
get
am
deep.
I saying to
It get deep.
myself?
It
What
get
am I
dark.
saying about myself? What am I
Yeah.
thinking about myself?
Yeah.
You know, do I feel like I'm not worthy of pursuing this purpose, pursuing this particular opportunity or this project?
And that sometimes be your own mind be playing against you. It'll play games and say you're not able to do. I remember one time I was working out and had got a new coach and and I'm already in shape. I'm cold but he gave me a whole nother workout and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. And my mind was saying, you can't do this. You can't go through this. But I'm like, shut up, mind.
Yeah.
You do what I tell you to do. You work for me. Because sometimes we get comfortable in our settings and sometimes we have to change the paradigm. And we have to talk to ourselves and change ourselves and let our mind know, because the mind would be like, I can't do this. As soon as you're doing something, you'd be like, oh no, this is too much. I can't do this. But you have to talk to yourself and say, I can do all things. That's when the word really comes in and the word makes itself plain and it makes itself alive to you, to say the word so that the word can be an affirmation to you. Because when you speak those things that are not as though they were, then the mouth trains the mind. Because you have to speak it to the mind, because the mind will tell you what you can't do.
Yeah.
It'll try to tell you you ain't able. You look what the people was talking about you. They was talking about you about this. They was doing this about you. And then the mind will just take over and say, I'm not able to do this. And, you go into a depression. But then that's when you got to say, I can do all things through Christ.
So for you, having a disciplined mindset, what has been the key? Is it
My
your
faith,
relationship?
man.
Yeah.
My faith in God has really been the key to speak it out, to proclaim it, to will it into me. And even if it looks bad, I know that God woke me up today for purpose. And my belief in him, that is just second to none, that keeps me going, even when it don't look like we're going nowhere. And faith without work is dead. So I had the faith, but then I got to go knock on the door. I got to go ask. I got to go do the calls. I got to go put the work in so that those opportunities can open up for me.
I think that's like the trickiest thing too, though. Like, and it's the hardest thing when you're not seeing the fruits of your labor yet.
That part, yeah.
So,
it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you, outside of obviously like with scripture and just knowing that you have to really apply faith, what other things are you doing to make sure that in those moments where you're not necessarily seeing the fruits that you want to see, like how are you staying disciplined? How are you staying the course?
I'm staying steadfast, and I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I fall short. I'm not perfect, but I'm striving for perfection. I fall off the horse sometimes and just go into a little clutch, but I pull myself back up, and get back into it, because it just happens to all of us. And you got to know that, every day it's not going to be a perfect day, but you got to still pull yourself up from where you are to get to where you need to be. And you can't put too much pressure on yourself because, we all have our breaking points. Nobody is perfect. I'm not perfect. And I'm not saying that I don't go through and that things don't get hard, because things get harder for those that keep pressing.
I think that's the one thing about, for sure, when it comes to just discipline, when it's shown up and showing out for you.
Yeah.
Like for you, you lost 100 pounds. So you saw not only like what I can do, like what I'm capable of, but also what happens when I apply discipline. So it's in those moments when things aren't going as fast,
you go back to those
as
times.
you want. Yeah, you have something to go back to. You have something to go reflect on and remind yourself of what the truth is. And it's like, I am going to always reap what I sow.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
You cannot, that's law.
Yeah.
Like you cannot break that law.
Yeah,
it's going to break you before you ever will break it.
That's that part.
For me, one of the biggest sacrifices that I've had to make, like obviously like I can relate to you in terms of like the people, or just really having to minimize my social activities, especially when it comes to purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And just having to lock in on the weekends and everything like that. But I think internally, one of the biggest sacrifices I had to make was removing the armor. Removing the armor has been like the biggest sacrifice with this, especially with this podcast, because you're having to be so vulnerable, so open, so transparent. And that comes with a lot. That comes with judgment.
Yeah, and you
that
shielded
comes
it.
with,
You didn't even like to be out.
I
You didn't
didn't.
like to, nobody see you. I'm like, yo, you got an Instagram? You're like, no, you out on. You wouldn't. You just that was you. So me and being here with you was just like phenomenal because I know who you are. And I know it's not about people. It's about you, and you don't like to be seen. You don't like to be out on the broadcast for people to be talking about you. And it's in you too, though. You know what I mean? It ain't just on you, and it's in you to be in front. It's in you to lead. And most of the time, the people that don't want to do it is the ones that God chooses to do it. So I commend you for even just stepping out on faith and doing what you're doing, because I know so many years you this wasn't for you.
Yeah,
you didn't do this.
I really appreciate you saying that and also knowing that about me.
Yeah.
If somebody does not personally know me and they saw that first episode, it was like, girl, you over here telling all your business, all your tea.
Right.
What do you mean you private? What do you mean? But that is who I am. I am such a private person.
Yeah.
But I also knew that.
That's like my wife. She private. She don't.
Yeah.
I'll be trying to get her out of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, people see the glory, but they don't know your story.
Yeah.
And so they judge you off of what they see at the beginning. And so that's why you can't go off of what people. You got to go off of you.
You can't. You can't. But it's definitely a struggle. It's a constant tending to process for sure. But definitely that is one of the biggest sacrifices that I've had to make. I've had to remove the armor so that I could be more vulnerable, so that I could push past. Thank you.
I'm loving the whole ambiance. I'm loving all of this, what you have done. You're so creative.
Thank you.
And I see you going very, very far. I see the world listening to you, following you.
Thank
I see the world being an example just because of you being a pillar and listening to the voice that God has told you to help more people. And coming out of your own self, you know what I mean, in your own comfort zone and stretching into the deep.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons, like this episode is, as much as it is for, as much as it's for the community, as much as it's for the crew, is very much so for me too, just having to lock in when it comes to just being more disciplined. Because in certain areas I'm great in. But in other areas, again, as this creative person, a lot of times as a creative person, you don't like rules. You don't necessarily like structure. You like to think outside the box. Like
me too.
I'm like that. So it's like structure, rules. I always have struggled with that. It does not come easy. But I do know how impactful structure and discipline is. Like if you want to be able to get somewhere for the long haul, if you're trying to go the distance, like you need that discipline, you need that structure.
You do.
And so it's really just understanding like this is what is going to carry you. For me, definitely trying to create those systems, trying to be able to create that structure and figuring out like what is that structure going to need that's really going to help me to optimize whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve, right? Because like you can make it real hard for yourself.
Yeah, you can.
And it don't have to be all that hard.
You can make it hard for yourself and be in your own way.
Yeah, like you said, you were a person who you knew if I go outside and I'm tempted,
it's going down.
It's going down.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, there's times where I think that I could out, you know what I'm saying? I could outbeat myself, and it's like, girl, every single time you try to work in your bed, you already know what it's the bed. You are gonna go to sleep.
It's over.
You keep trying it, but you keep failing. So it's just really you understanding and knowing yourself and creating these structures that are going to be best for you, right? That are going to help to get you to wherever it is that you need. And it's being honest with yourself.
And that's the thing. You can lie to people. I ain't saying don't lie. But when you lie to yourself.
When you lying to yourself.
Oh, man. Come on. Now, that's the biggest downfall.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, really you lying to you. Nah, you just really going backwards.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be honest with yourself. So.
Yeah. Understanding like your temptations, understanding the things that are going to trigger you and removing those things. Like that's exactly what you did. And I'm so glad that you just brought that story. You brought that story up because that's something that you could just constantly like rinse and repeat and you're going to win every single time. Like you figured out, like, I can't be around people.
Yeah.
I'm too weak. And honest about being honest about
and I
where
can't
you're
be
at
around
in this
temptation
season.
things that I know I love. I know that's got me. You know, I know I'm trying to fight off from smoking weed, and why would I keep going around the people that do that?
Right.
Next thing I know, I'm gonna be blowing one with them. You know,
and
it's just that simple. Food, anything, same thing. You just gotta separate yourself and come out from among them.
Yeah.
And it's just go back to the word all the time, and always go back to the word, because the word is the most powerful thing in the world.
It is. I agree. When it comes to being disciplined, is yes for yourself first.
It's self
first.
Yes.
But the way that your discipline can show up and it can impact other people, right?
It's
like, had you not been disciplined,
yes.
had you not sequestered yourself in the house for those 3 weeks,
I wouldn't be here.
You wouldn't be here. Think about how many lives. Think about how many lives you've impacted. Think about how many lives you've changed because you chose to be disciplined.
Yes.
So yes, discipline is very much for ourselves, but just as much as it's for ourselves,
it's for others.
It's also for others.
And discipline is one of the hardest things to do. If you could change your body and your body type and your composition of who you are, and really have a natural transformation, it's only 1% of the world that can do that. That does that.
And understanding the sacrifices that are going to come with it. Like, sacrifices are going to come with it. Yeah. Things are going to have to die.
Yeah, they got to die.
Things are going to have to die. You caring about, again, going back to the things that I've had to, like, sacrifice outside of the external things of, a certain social life right now, but the internal things that I'm sacrificing, like I said, letting go of the care of judgment, right? And just being a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And letting go of being such a private person and being okay with talking and talking about my story and taking people through, like, my valley. Like, that's not, it's never easy talking about the things that don't paint you in the best light.
Right.
Like,
but it shows your growth in the strength that you possess and the power that you have of yourself, because it don't matter about what they judge and what they say. You know know what you've been through, and you know what it took you to get to where you are now. Mm-hmm. Right. And so what they say doesn't matter, because there are some people that they love you but hate you in the same sentence. They love what you've done and created, but they hate that it's you. Because they have no identity for themselves. And so they're talking and they pointing the finger, but in nationality, they really want to become who you really are. And you're still being persuasive to them. At the end of the day, they want to be like you.
How important is it to understand your identity?
It's so important to understand your identity, because when you really understand who you are and your purpose of what God has you here for, no one else can take that from you.
Yeah.
And now you become a person of excellence, right? Because you're not looking for validation from people. Now you're free. You're free to speak your mind, speak how you feel, and not worry about what's going to come back, but still have an answer for those that do have something to say, because there's always going to be somebody that got something to say.
It's always going to be somebody that got something to say. But to your point, that's one of the key things to be able to stay disciplined, is having a compelling why. Yeah. And the reason why you exist, the reason why God put you on this earth, is absolutely like one of the most compelling whys. And so it'll allow for you to stay disciplined. That's that why your daughter being born,
right,
that was the thing that really activated you to become disciplined, to be willing to sequester yourself for 3 weeks. Like, you need that compelling why in order to be able to stay disciplined and maintain the course. Because when it gets hard, and it is going to get hard, you have to go back to that why. Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? You have to constantly just re-emphasize and reiterate that to yourself.
Yeah. And sometimes your whys can change later.
That's true.
Your whys can change from other things to even better things that you need to do. So because that's coming out of more discomfort.
Yes. That is so true. I think when I first started working out, my why is totally different
from at the beginning,
from where it is at now.
Yeah.
For me, you want to look good, you want to be in shape and everything like that, right? Genetically, I know what I am predisposed to.
Yeah.
And it is obesity. Like
Same here.
I can't be out. Yeah.
It's in my blood.
There's some people, I got one of my closest friends, like she can eat whatever she wants.
Yeah.
I am like, that is not my story. I can't eat whatever I want. That's not.
Girl, if you don't preach in here.
Every single time
Preach
I
now.
talked to her, she had a Popeye, she had a McDonald's, and I just be like, oh my
How
gosh.
can
Like,
you do it?
Yes, it can't. That's not my story.
Not mine either. Shoot, soon as I get it, it's blow.
Yeah. So in knowing that, I was like, all right, Kat, like you need to start at a younger age so that you can get the taste for it, that you can get the appetite for it. Now, that's not my why.
Yeah.
I need it from a cognitive, mental.
That part. I need clarity.
I need clarity.
I need to breathe. I need to feel good when I wake up. I need to feel that energy. I don't need that sluggishness. That part is just different now. It's like I'm, it's that's it.
Yeah, for me, like when it comes to just,
it's a stress reliever for me now. It's just the weight of the world that I have to get off of me.
Exactly.
In this moment in time.
Yes, I need that release.
I need it.
I need that release. That releases
these
everything.
Toxins. Because every day we in the world, there's pollution that is being polluted in us that we don't even see. And I had to get this out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And for me, like I'm such a momentum person.
Yes, you were.
So when it comes to like when I wake up in the morning and I can like get it in, it sets the tone for my day.
It sets the tone.
It really does.
Yes, it does.
But what I will also say is when you're dealing with just the pressures of life, you have so much that is being put on you. Ooh. And when I work out, just again, the mental clarity that I receive, like it's just this reminder, like, Kat, you got it in you. You can do it. And a lot of times, like I could be on the treadmill and an answer comes, and like I was struggling with something for
and it comes
days,
to you.
And it just comes to me, and I'm just like, like I need it from my mental stability at this point.
Yes,
like there's times where it's the wintertime. I'm not going to be wearing no bathing suit for another 4 months. Right. Like I could care less about how my body looks.
Facts.
But when it comes to where my mind is at, where the heaviness of the thoughts that are happening, like it's like I have to get up because I need to be able to release that. I need to be able to have that.
Because it get clogged.
It really does.
With so much.
It really does.
And you don't know where to stop, where to piece it apart from.
And so I'm not mad at people when you start working out, and you are looking for the physical results, you're looking for your body to be.
Everybody got to start somewhere.
Exactly. But I think the thing that you should really hold on to is how is this mentally making me feel? Yeah. Now, maybe in the moment when you're doing them squats,
but when have you ever left the gym?
Maybe discomfort.
When have you ever left the gym and said, I just wish I didn't come here today.
Exactly.
Has that ever happened to you?
Never.
Like never.
Never.
Like
I
ever.
may be like, you gonna have to come pick me up off this floor.
Yeah.
Because
like I got it in today.
Done,
it's like you never leave here and be like, I regret it coming today. Not ever. Like you would go to a restaurant and say, I'm never going there again. You know what I mean? And you go to a spot and say, I'm not never going there again. But when you go to the gym, I don't care if it's a hole in the wall. Yeah. You're not saying I'm mad I came here.
Right. No, for sure. Absolutely. I totally track with you. I've never walked out of the gym, not one time, and said that I'm always proud of myself.
Because the gym means get your money.
Yeah. And you hold on to that. That's the thing with anything. It's not just the gym. Even when I'm in here and I'm spending hours, like I never regret it.
Because
never regret it.
It's building character. It's building something in you.
You'll never regret being disciplined.
No.
But it's an undisciplined life
that you regret.
That you're gonna regret.
Because it's time that you pass by being lackadaisical, being foolish, living in the moment, having a good time, and the good time is over. And the time that you was having a good time, you could have been disciplined on so that the time now can be better for you. And you can have something saved up for later.
So what would Ralph's life look like if he was undisciplined?
Oh, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I would be probably like doing? 600 pounds, diabetes everywhere, can't see, glaucoma. I would not have what I had. I would probably not even be here. I'd probably be in the grave because of the food that I love, you know, and it can take over you. And like I said, sugar is the number one killer in the world. It hit the brain 32 times, the nervous system.
That's crazy.
And
see those are the things you gotta like. So when I go down, like because I am like when it comes to sugar, like I'm not a big candy person, but when it comes to like desserts, ooh, don't tempt me with a good time. I'm not gonna, that is definitely an area of weakness for me. But I think when you know those facts, you remind yourself of those things.
No,
like
this is too.
You hold on to those facts, to those truths, and you remind yourself.
Yeah. Sugar is the number one killer in the world.
So
obesity.
Have you completely like removed sugar from your entire lifestyle?
No, okay. I have not. I will be a lie to say I have, but I do it in balance, and you know, because you know, there's good sugars and then there's bad sugars.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, what does that balance look like for you? That
balance is just, you know, less is more, just a little at a time. You know, I'll probably go once or 2 times a month. You know, having an indulge or get like from the ice cream truck. You know. My kids may want to get some ice cream and we'll get some, but it's not all the time. You know, it's just, it's if we did something and it was strange, we done worked out, we done burnt a bunch of calories and we're going to treat ourselves, not cheat ourselves.
It's that delayed gratification. Like I know that I didn't worked for this and I deserve it. And a lot of times after you eat it, and see, this is where
you feel horrible.
Yeah. And so I get checked on this often by like one of my girlfriends. She was like, you need to stop doing that. You know, like just enjoy it. Like stop talking.
And you want to enjoy it, but it's not a part of you no more.
That's true.
And sometimes you try to, and sometimes it's just distasteful.
Yeah.
It's distasteful.
But it's like if you're going to do it, don't feel, you know.
Don't be bad about it, you know, because you're not doing it all the time.
Yeah, or don't always feel like you don't want to feel guilty. You know, you don't want to.
It's no guilt on there because you're not overindulging in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just something you did and it may not taste like you used to taste no more because you don't have the effect that you strung out on it no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, that's not good.
Enjoy it, but know like, okay, well, obviously.
Here's the thing though, sometimes you just can't enjoy certain stuff that you know is just really killing you.
That part.
You know, it's just in the brain, in the mind, and in you. You know, until you just keep going back into it. That's why the word says, forgetting those things which are behind you and pressing towards those things which are before you. You know what I mean? So some things you just have to forget and leave alone. You know what I mean?
Because that's a part of discipline. That's a part of the sacrifice.
It's a part of it.
That's a part of the sacrifice.
And people don't understand that until they get to where you are, you know? And when they get to those miles of climbing a mountain, you know, because you got to know that God has you. And it was a scenario where, you know, I don't know if you ever mountain climbed or climbed a mountain. When you start climbing, they put these things on you and they just want you to go up just far enough and they tell you to let yourself go because, you know, a couple of feet off the ground is different than 50,000 feet off the ground, right? But if you get off the ground and you let go and it catch you and the people that's holding the thing down, you're like, okay, I'm good. So the further you go up, you getting more discipline and more strength to go higher, right? Because you got to go high. It's too many people at the bottom already. You know what I mean? And it's for us to go up and higher. The bottom is crowded. Let's get to the top. Let's go to the mountain. You know what I mean? And really, really see what really life has to offer to us and do some things that we never done before. And it takes discipline to do that and to get there.
And the people that are at the top have the greatest level of discipline.
They had the greatest level of discipline. And they're seeing things that we have never saw before. Right? And we want to live life to see life and see what God has for us.
Yeah.
You know, what he has made for us. This life is big. It's great. It's abundant. And to get there, sometimes we have to say no.
What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions about discipline?
That it's bad for you. That people are trying to keep you in bondage, that people are trying to make you a slave or trying to tell you that, you know, they're better than you. And it's not, you know, word says who he loves, he chastises, you know, so he chasing. He just wants you to be better. We want you to be better. And sometimes love comes in a different form. And it's like, stop doing that because I really love you. So, you know, you're going to keep seeing your child just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. or you gonna say no, you can't eat that no more.
Yeah. And I think that is one of the biggest things, like you said, that is bad for you. But because discipline, depending on how you were raised, can be so triggering for people, they're like, oh,
because
I don't get discipline away from me.
In school, these kids will talk about you so bad that they'll make you depressed and need to be hard in your life. And, they don't lie to you. You fat girl, you fat boy, you this, you that. And at a young age, we have to really, be over our children and really help them and let them and put it in them. And the word says, train a child in the way they should go. And when they get older, they won't depart from it.
Yeah.
So if we really showing them how to eat right, how to not just giving them McDonald's and empty calories and food that's going to give them sugary and diabetes and not be able to have focus. And now they just getting all big and out of shape and people talking about them and we wondering why they getting in fights and people don't like them and they don't like themselves. It's because we didn't bring them up right. We didn't chastise them to say, no, you can't have this now.
I'm just trying to think about it in my mind. Like I can't see any place that anyone has gone where it is high to the tops of their mountains without making good decisions and without some level of structure. You really need both of those things. And that's what discipline is.
You have to have it. You have to have it.
Discipline is all about making good decisions and having structure.
Yeah. Knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think also another misconception about discipline is that it gets easier. I think we get stronger, but I don't necessarily know if it gets easier. Because every single time, even though I never regret going to the gym, even though I never regret, coming in here and doing the podcast, when I know I'm going to have to be in here doing production, it's not necessarily that you
have to stay humble with it because it's not easy.
It's not.
But after you've been there before, you'll be like, I can do this, but it's still hard.
When you
at certain levels.
Yeah, as much as you love leg day.
Yeah.
Like as much as you love leg day, does it get easier for you?
Well, it get easier for me, but sometimes it's hard days to get myself up to do it. That's why the word says 2 is better than 1, because if one falls, there's another to pick him up. Sometimes we need like-minded individuals around us to push us, right? Michael Jordan was one of the greatest players in the NBA, but he needed field. He needed a team. He needs somebody to push him to his greatness too. He still couldn't do it by himself. Even though he was the greatest player, he exemplified greatness and he made other people around him great. But at the same time, he needed people around him to help him become and stay great.
Yeah.
We need each other.
We do.
We need each other because there are times where it get gray and we don't want to do it. We don't want to go. We want to say no.
That goes back to understanding what it is you need. Like, what is going to allow for you to maintain the discipline? What does that structure ultimately look like for you? Like, there are certain times where I'm like, yeah, I know in this season I need a trainer.
Yeah.
And I know in this season I have to meal prep.
Yeah, because I don't want to think about what I need to be working on, what I need to be doing.
Exactly. I know I'm going to have to, I'm in a season where I need to lock in and do fitness classes because I don't have it to just do it by myself. It's understanding like what it is that you need or who you need in order to be able to be disciplined in this season.
Navigating through that.
Yes.
And really executing to that point. And not always putting all on you, because that's how you become, unbearable to can't do it, and then you just don't do nothing.
Yeah. One of the misconceptions I think when it comes to discipline is that there's not going to be any resistance. And I just feel like when it comes to you being disciplined, like there's always going to be a certain level of resistance. So that's what I mean. Like when I said you get stronger, but it doesn't necessarily get easier.
Right.
Like you're always going, there's always going to be that certain level of angst. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be that certain level of resistance. Your mind telling you that you can't do it, that you shouldn't do it. Yep. And those are the things that you have to push past. The great thing is you have situations that remind you that you can do it. I think you have to know, like, it's going to be there.
It's still going to be there.
It's going to be there.
It's still a struggle. It's still a heartache, and you got to go through it to get to it. Yeah. No matter what. No matter how many times you've been here before. I done been on the stage of bodybuilding a lot of times, and every time it's still very hard to do that diet. It's hard to stick to it. It's very hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, and it's a humbling experience. So, and then here's the other part. You have to stay in the rhythm. When you get out of a rhythm of something, it's hard to get back in it.
Yeah.
Right? I can just say, like, when a drummer is playing and we dance and then we shot, but as soon as he roll or he come out his pocket and out his beat, and we off beat now. We got to stay in that rhythm. We in that rhythm and we doing it. But as soon as we come out it's hard to get back in that rhythm. It's hard to get back to meal prepping. It's hard to going back to the gym. It's hard to saying, I got to put this together, do that together. So sometimes you don't want to come out of certain rhythms in life.
I get that. And that's why I said, like, for me, like, I'm a huge momentum person.
Yeah.
So I get that. Like, if I don't smash it in the beginning of the day in my mornings.
Yeah, it's not happening because too much in your life has to happen. And I can't retract to go back to the gym.
You're playing catch up all day.
You're playing catch up all day.
For you being an entrepreneur in this season, like, what does discipline look like for you? How is it showing up for you?
It's showing up for me to stay on my course, stay on the things that I wrote down, and checking off the tasks that I wrote down every day, and writing a vision and making it plain to me first and not to nobody else. You know, and just going through that and saying, did I hit this? Did I do that? That's my discipline now, especially making sure that I write what I do and do what I write and stand true to that, and everything else will come on. Because sometimes you have to write it to see it to do it. Right?
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to write it
to see it,
to do it.
And here's the part. I would never be the person to write it. I will always tell everybody to do that. Because it was in me so much, and until I started really just start writing it, and I started seeing it unfold really in my life. It really started happening. So then that's when I go back to the word when it says write the vision and make it plain.
No, I agree. It is something so powerful about setting those intentions.
Yeah.
And planting those seeds, and then being able to watch them unfold, to be able to watch them manifest, and be able to watch them, or to be able to watch yourself actualize those things. Yeah. And then go back and read and be like, damn, like I said I was going to do that, and I did that.
I don't even believe this right now. I did that. Yeah.
And it's that reminder is so powerful.
Yes, it's so powerful.
It's so powerful. And I think that's, you know, like outside of the fact that just being able to remind yourself in the moment of like what I said, to hold myself accountable to that. Yeah. Like, this is what I said I was going to do. Yeah. And I'm going to do it. I wrote it down. But then once you accomplish it, to be able to go back and be even more just wowed by your capabilities and your power. And then you have that to hold on to as you continue on. Yeah. How is discipline showing up as a husband and as a father?
Just being responsible, remembering who I am and the people before me, watching them. My father really showed that discipline to me, and I'm grateful for that. And so even with that, that's favor. So right now we're in a world where everybody is tripping about Bronny James and, you know, him being drafted, and they saying it's because it's nepotism, a new word that they brought out, and it's saying because of his father. But this is what we need. We need people before us to be able to bring us up and to show us the way and have our backs. So I'm sorry for those that didn't have that person. But we're glad for those that do have it, so that they can show us a role model of how to be that. And so I had a father who showed me how to be a role model for the family, keep the family together. Before he deceased, God bless his soul, he was the greatest man. And I didn't really know as great as he is until he has left. Sorry to say, because I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't as disciplined to understand the things he really went through. Now that I'm sitting in the seat that he was in, to see how strong he really, really was. And I'm just like, wow, he's very strong, stronger than I ever thought that he was. And so having that, it helps me be responsible for to be the husband that I should be and the father that I need to be to my children. And so I go back to that and say, if he did it, he got this much, and I haven't even touched the piece of that yet. You know what I mean? And I'm doing these things. So it helps me keep myself in alignment to be responsible to my wife, to my children, and my community to build more and become better. And if I didn't have that right now, I couldn't even answer you right now. But thanks be to God, I did have that.
Yeah. To your point, and I'm not a parent, but I'm going to speak from what I believe my parents would want for me, and I'm sure what your parents have always wanted for you. They want you to go further than they ever have. And so with all of the failures and the challenges that they had, if that allows for you to advance yourself because you've learned from them, then you know that those sacrifices, you know that discipline, you know that those valleys, they know that they weren't in vain. My children should be able to be rewarded off of my discipline.
After my discipline. That's correct. That's right. They should have a great inheritance because of what I was disciplined and sacrificed for them.
Exactly.
So that they don't have to go through some of the things that I have to go through.
Right.
They have to go through their own battles, but not the battles that I have.
Exactly.
Because I won those for them.
How is discipline showing up in your spiritual life?
So every morning, God just wakes me up, and he is giving me the discipline because I asked for it. They said, if you want wisdom, ask for it. If you want knowledge, ask for it, and he'll give it to you. And so it's just a phase, I think, sometimes, because now it's just like I want more. I want to know more. I want to know more of his word. I want to know more of him. And I don't want to be religious about it. I don't want to be into a religious group to put walls up on my spirituality and say what I can and cannot do. And I'm just there with it. And it's like, I'm not putting judgmental on people because he didn't put judgmental on me. You know, I just want to be what he called me to be in this day and time. And I want to serve, and I want to uplift, and I want to enhance as many people as possible, as well as impacting myself. And when I impact me, I impact more. And, you know, when we impact, we get income, and that's the outcome.
As a pastor, it has to be a lot trying to manage.
It's a lot. What it is.
Being disciplined looks like. So how are you ultimately handling that pressure?
I do a lot of praying. I'm on my knees a lot. Because it's I couldn't even really answer it. It's God coming in and staring for me because, you know, I'm not perfect, and I strive for perfection through him. And to have discipline with so many genre of people and so many opinions of people, you have to really trust in God to be able to get an answer to them when it's to come, and to be able to lead them in the right way. It's really hard though. And sometimes, you know, you want to run from it, but you can't run because that's not who you are. You know, you got to run through it so that he can take you to it. And he always gives you the answer at the end of the day. And not try to get frustrated with your flesh and yourself, but know that it's a spiritual thing, because word says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, wickednesses that is in high places, things that's over us. Yeah. And so when you give it back to God, then he'll handle it for you.
What are some areas that you want to get better at when it comes to your discipline?
Just deciphering certain levels of where I need to be when I need to be there, and knowing when to say no. That part, not always trying to say I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. And I need to know, like, no, I can't do this, I can't do that. We have to go there to do this. And just really that word no. Just saying no, because sometimes I can become an enabler. And that's not what because now when you always saying yes, they're always coming to you. And not trying to figure it out on their own because you always had the answer to them. But really teaching them how to fish and not giving them the fish.
So discipline is learning how to say no.
Yes. Yes.
Discipline is learning how to say no.
Especially the ones that you really love and care for.
Yeah. Discipline is learning how to say no to others and no to yourself.
Yes. Yes. And letting God deal certain things out for them, and not you trying to get in the way of that to help, because you can mess it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
You know, and I'm going through a lot of that right now, like trying to figure out certain attitudes, dispositions, and certain people. And because people have their own opinions of how they want things to be done. And especially people that know you and they feel like, you know, they know who you are and they don't understand the changes that have come on you. They still want to keep you in that same box.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think for me, like, discipline very much so is really learning how to prioritize yourself. You know, prioritize the yeses, prioritize the nos, so that ultimately those yeses and those nos are working for you instead of against you.
And putting things in the right place where, you know, it's not personal. Because we take a lot of things personal and we got to keep certain things business.
Yeah.
And myself, I take business and make it personal for myself and then put this personal burden on me that is messing up the business.
Yeah.
It's messing up things that we don't need to put personalized on you because they're wrong. And because you have so much love for them and so much that you want to see them prosper, that you're not telling them the correct information at that moment and you're not giving them tough love and saying, pause. I can't do it. I can't be a part of this.
That's something that I'm working on, like personally, just not taking things so personal, like not taking it on, and also understanding like where other people are at in their life, right? I think it's so important to have like that discernment and understanding like this. Don't take it so personal.
What was I kind of got messed up on the word I was trying to say. It was like, I was trying to say the put it in the right place.
Compartmentalize it.
That's the word. That word I was trying to say.
Yeah. No, but you do. You really do have to you definitely have to compartmentalize things and not take things so personal. Yeah. But I think for me, because I do so many things from a personal place, you know, from a loving place, from a giving place, like when you're making sacrifices, when you're setting your own time aside, when you have decided not necessarily to prioritize yourself or whatever it is that you may have going on to help somebody else, you take it personally.
Yeah, and everybody not on the level you on, though. They haven't been through everything, so then you have to sometimes come all the way down to them to try to help them, and then it's like taking you out of your rhythm. And even him on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. There are some people that just don't even know what they doing, yo.
Yeah,
and they don't even understand it. They got the heart to try to please, but they just not on the level of where you are. Yeah. And it's frustrating because you done got personal with them because of the love you have for them. But at the end of the day, it's still business, and you got to tell them who IS is. You got to tell them, man. You got to tell them.
What is
this is incorrect. You are wrong. This is how it needs to be. Yeah. I got that from my pop. He would always say that when he was speaking.
So what is it?
I'm going to tell him how it IS is.
How it IS is.
Because that's what it is, right?
That's
so
what it is.
It's like, you know, and sometimes we run from telling people the straight up facts because we don't want to hurt them. We don't want to hurt their feelings. We don't. And it's just, you know, I have another thing. It's just say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. Because we get personal and we start saying things mean out of anger. But we mean good, we mean well, and they don't take it well, right? So you want them to take it that they run with it and listen, and not take it that, oh, you trying to be better than me. It's say what you mean what you say, but don't say
it mean. I love that. I love that. I do really try to, I try to make that my situation, my set when I'm speaking with people, because you want them to receive it well. Like you don't want it to fall on deaf ears. You don't.
And we're not perfect, so sometimes we're still perfecting ourselves. You know, because sometimes people that take you hot, they get you hot, and you just blow it off.
Yeah.
And sometimes they need to hear your anger.
They do. They
need to hear it.
Yes.
And then we go back and apologize. Listen, that came out the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I still meant what I was saying.
But I think that's the important part of being disciplined and having, because discipline very much so I think is having discernment, right? Yeah, and so being able to have discernment and being disciplined in what I am saying and when I'm saying it. Yeah. Because sometimes, I speak for myself, like emotions will
overtake
me,
you.
Yeah, it get me out of pocket.
Yeah.
And so it's being disciplined about those emotions, being disciplined about the timing of something. Is this the right time for you to have that conversation with somebody? Because I personally don't want to just say it to say it. I want them to be able to receive it.
Correct.
You want them to receive it. Yeah, they may not.
And that's why the word says there's a time and place for everything. It's a time to laugh. It's a time to cry.
Yeah.
It's a time to live. It's a time to die. You know what I mean? It's just always a time. And we want to be searching for the right time. And we may not get it all right all the time, but we're striving for perfection.
So how are you consistently sharpening that sword of discipline?
I'm talking to wisdom. People that went before me, that's older than me, that's been here, that's been through what I've been through, hearing how they, you know, went through it, giving me more, you know, giving them the scenario synopsis. And iron sharpens iron. So sometimes you have to go to other people and give them what you're going through so that you can make your situation better. You know, you can't always try to get it from yourself. You need a different opinion from someone that lived longer and has more and been more places than you.
No, I love that. I definitely love that. What are we saying to encourage people who may have fallen off track when it comes to being disciplined?
Have a sense of urgency of not staying in your depression. Get up and do it now. Don't stay there. So just really pushing them from where they are to where God really purposed us to be, because we all fall short of the glory. And, you know, he says he's given us grace on our case, and he'll turn our now around so that we can win. And when you turn the word now around, you got won. So, you know, you got to win that situation, and you got to have urgency of winning it. Yeah.
I agree. I think you find the balance in the urgency,
Yes.
because yes, it is important for you to get yourself out of it, but it's
Yes.
also important for you to feel through that and learn
And
whatever
reflect.
lesson
Yeah,
it is
reflect.
that you're supposed
Yeah.
to learn.
Look at it, listen to see what you've done, but don't stay there.
Yeah.
And after you get there, you can go back and reflect on what happened
Yeah.
and understand, because sometimes some things can keep you bound, and you'll be blind. You'll be blind to it, and time will pass by, and you can't get time back.
Why is Raphael's journey worth traveling?
This journey that I have been on has been just a humbling journey, a very humbling journey, a hard journey, but a journey worth traveling, because I'm part of the 1%ers of the world that go through it. And, you know, it's great. I feel like it's great, and I'm glad that I was chosen to go through this, because, you know, there are some that you don't choose it when you're chosen. And it says, he who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish what?
Nothing.
You won't accomplish nothing in life.
Nothing in
right?
life. Yeah.
And so you have everything in here to make this atmosphere what it is. This is a great place. This atmosphere is blessed. And I see this atmosphere traveling to a lot of different places, a lot of different continents. And people need this. They need to be blessed. They need to feel this. And they need to grip this into their lives. And I'm just glad to be here sitting in this seat at this time, being able to be a part of this journey.
I receive all that. And I'm just grateful, obviously, for our relationship.
Thanks.
And just, you know, everything that you have imparted into me and continue to.
Yes.
And also for taking us to the Dojo of Discipline. Okay, so tell us where we can find you at.
You can find us at www.b as in best, E as in ever, rocketfuel.com. So that is brocketfuel.com. You can find me there. That's my website. You can email me, as well as Raphael Williams Jr. at Gmail. And we're always open for invitations, and we want to be a part of whatever you have that's in bettering and imparting life.
And I will just piggyback off that and just say that the same love
Absolutely.
and discipline that you showed on today is the same love and discipline that you and Tay put into the food. That's his wife.
We definitely
that
put
they
it in there.
into the food to make sure that it is going to edify you. It's very nutrient rich.
I like that, edify you. I like that.
Are you on social media?
I am. You can follow me on Raphael Williams Jr., King Priest.
Did you change yours?
It was always.
Okay.
It used to be Rafi Boy, but
Okay.
You know, when I was a child, I spake as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. So no more Rafi Boy. It's Raphael Williams Jr.
Love it.
You know what I mean? The King Priest. And you can follow me, and I'll follow you back, and go somewhere. Let's get it.
Well, thank you again for taking us to the Dojo of Discipline.
Thank you for
today.
having us here. We're so elated to be in this space and be able to occupy this time.
It was an exciting trip. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Peace. Bless your heart and all your parts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.